This is a breaking news alert from 24-Hour News 8.
And breaking now at 5, the suspect in a Muskegon County abduction just made his first appearance in court, and we are learning several new developments.
Prosecutors said Jeffery Willis's van was set up to not only kidnap women, but take sexual advantage of them. We also learned police are actively tracking down leads in 2 high-profile cases.
That hearing happening on a day that police spent hours going through a home connected to Willis, looking for any evidence that might connect him to the other cases. We have team coverage for you on this breaking story tonight. Leon Hendricks spoke with a neighbor who called 911, prompting today's search in Norton Shores. But first, Joe LaFurgey just stepped out of the Muskegon County Courthouse where this new information came out today. Joe.
Brian, a bit of a bombshell, if you will, in this case. We have all been talking about possible connections of Jeffery Willis to the Jessica Heeringa case, but in court just a few minutes ago, the prosecutor not only mentioning that case as something they're looking into as well, but also the murder of Bletsch. That was back in 2014. As you said, Willis in court just moments ago, that arraignment ending. He was charged on 3 counts: kidnapping, assault with a dangerous weapon, and felony firearms, all connected to the kidnapping of a girl back on April 16th. Now, you saw Heather Walker's exclusive interview with the victim yesterday. She talked about how Willis picked her up, kept her in his vehicle, and at one point appeared to go for a handgun before she escaped. Muskegon County Prosecutor DJ Hilson talked about some very frightening evidence found in Willis's vehicle and addressing the question everyone's asking: is this the only case Willis may be involved with?
In a search warrant of this man's van, investigators recovered multiple syringes of a liquid that appears to be a drug or a sedative of some kind in a hidden compartment. We recovered handcuffs and a rope. In my opinion, Judge, given what was all recovered from that particular van, this was a vehicle designed to not only kidnap but also take sexual advantage of women. Finally, investigators are following up leads that lead to connections to not only Jessica Heeringa but also Rebekah Bletsch. Those leads are being done and being taken very, very seriously.
And Brian, the judge had to set bond in this case because of the nature of these charges. They had to set some sort of bond. They went for a very high bond, $1 million. Obviously, they want to keep Willis in jail behind bars if all possible. Back to you.
So that was just detailed, Joe, what they found in the van. They didn't detail anything that they may have found in the home or this other house that they were searching today.
Correct. They were very careful not to cross that line, Brian, to just talk about the facts in this kidnapping case as they stand right now, but to kind of let the judge know, especially when it came to the question of bond, hey, we are looking at this guy for some other things, nothing specific. And as you said, as you saw yesterday too, all the investigators involved in this say, yeah, we're just looking right now. Obviously, there's some things that are just too tough to ignore, so they are taking a look at that. Leon Hendricks will have something in just a few minutes on where they were at today looking for additional evidence.
All right. Joe LaFurgey reporting live from Muskegon tonight. Thank you, Joe. The victim in this case is a 16-year-old girl from the Muskegon area, and we spoke with her last night in an exclusive interview. She described the night that she says that Willis attempted to kidnap her.
I really thought he was going to kill me, and I thought he was going to take me. I was just scared.
How certain are you that this is the man who picked you up?
100%. I know it's him. Like, as soon as I saw his mugshot, I knew it was him. And I was just so happy they got him.
We turn now to Norton Shores, where police spent hours searching a property owned by Willis's family. And that's where 24-Hour News 8's Leon Hendricks picks up the story. Leon?
Susan, good afternoon. It was about an hour ago that the final police officer cleared this scene. They spent quite some time here pulling evidence out of this home, though we don't know what that evidence is or whether it had anything to do with any case. Police say that they are sure that Willis is connected to the abduction case from last month, but they're not so sure about anything else, at least not yet. Another day, another hours-long investigation, this time an abandoned home in the 3000 block of Bailey. A tipster brought police to this home after seeing Jeffery Willis on the news and realizing that she'd seen him on this property where his late grandfather once lived. This woman says she was the person who decided to call police.
He would just come around walk around the house. Like his silver van would like up in the front yard with his lights off.
Police say they are certain that Willis kidnapped a girl briefly as she walked along a Muskegon County road. She escaped by jumping from his moving vehicle. The suspect vehicle in that case, a silver van, like the one seen here in a Google Street View image of the suspect's home. It's all reminiscent of the Jessica Heeringa case, the similar suspect vehicle, the sketch compared to the mugshot. But the sheriff today cautioned against drawing any conclusions. He says they are looking into the potential for a connection between Willis and other cases, but at this point have not come to any firm realizations.
That everybody's looking for that link. Everybody wants myself or someone to come out and say, yes, we have that link, we've made that nexus. We have not.
So since the police have cleared, it's been back to quiet here. Again, this home abandoned. The man who used to live here was Jeffery Willis's grandfather. He died back in 2011. But again, that neighbor is saying that she'd seen Willis here and enough suspicion was raised, given his connection to this new case, to make her contact the authorities. You'll hear more from her coming up on the news at 6 o'clock, and we'll break down the whole layout of this situation, the home here as it connects geographically to the gas station, and those images we've seen of that silver van. We'll have more coming up on the news at 6. Right now we're reporting live in Norton Shores. Leon Hendricks, 24-hour News 8.
Leon, you've been on the scene all day long. Any idea what the police were able to take out of that home today?
You know, they haven't given us that kind of detail. The sheriff was out here at noon. We were able to get him live on the air. At that time, he said that they'd taken some samples from some of the walls, though they didn't elaborate on exactly what that is or whether it has any connection to anything. We've seen them come out of here with several large bags, some envelopes. They seem to be collecting quite a few things for a home that hasn't been lived in. But again, at this point, we don't know what those items were. We were kept back a distance as the home was wrapped off with crime tape. And we also don't know if any of it has anything to do with any case, including the abduction case he's charged with, Susan.
Okay, Leon Hendricks reporting live for us from Norton Shores tonight. Thank you. This is a breaking story, and we will be staying on top of it. 24-hour News 8's Heather Walker is working this story right now in Muskegon County. We'll have updates for you tonight at 6, 10, and 11, and of course as developments come in at woodtv.com.
Another big breaking news story. Within the past 15 minutes, we have learned that Lorinda Swain has finally been cleared of a sex crime she says she never committed. 24-hour News 8's Marley Ginter's in studio control with these breaking developments. Marley?
Well, Brian, the Calhoun County prosecutor says he will not retry Lorinda Swain, so she is a free woman tonight. In 2001, Swain was convicted of sexually abusing her adopted son, who later said he made the whole story up. Swain's attorneys say they have evidence that her ex-boyfriend, Dennis Brooke, told a detective during the investigation that he never saw her abuse her son. The defense team argued that that information was never disclosed by the prosecution, which is required by law. Appeal after appeal has kept the case working its way through the court system for years. Well, earlier today, the state Supreme Court overturned the appeals court siding with Swain. And we talked with her after that ruling.
I'm just in disbelief in a way. I'm just so happy. So thankful to God, most of all. Justice won today. I didn't win. Justice won.
But again, new developments within the past 15 minutes. The Calhoun County Prosecutor's Office decided they would drop the case against Swain, so she is now a free woman. We're continuing to follow these breaking developments and are working to get in contact with her for a reaction. Sue?
Marley, thank you. And developing news we're following, a man hit by a car while trying to move a TV off the highway. State police tell us the man was hit in the northbound lanes of 131 just south of Wayland. Apparently the 61-year-old man from the Shelbyville area was trying to get either the TV or a monitor out of a traffic lane and into a median. He was hit though, and AeroMed took him to a Grand Rapids hospital. He is listed in critical condition tonight.
Well, it is severe weather season. Storm Team 8 wants to make sure that you're prepared. Right now, you can meet some of the team out at the Meijer in Granville and get yourself a weather radio while you're at it. Chief Meteorologist Bill Steffen is there for us tonight. Hey, Bill.
Hey, this is Bill Steffen. Once again, we are live at Rivertown Crossings, the area right on 44th Street, easy to get to off of Interstate 196. Take 44th Street East. Or if you're coming on 131, come on down to 44th Street and take that off to the west. We're giving you one of these, we're not giving, but we're giving a sale price on a Midland Weather Alert radio. We're at the west side of the Myers. If you look at all the checkouts here behind me, we are right at the west end of the store. So come out and see us. We'll be here until 6:30. Hook you up with one of these Weather Alert radios for a very cheap price so that you can be safe when tornadoes threaten. We're heading right into our severe weather season here in West Michigan. Nothing on Storm Track Live to show you out there right now. We are clear and dry, should stay that way. Much of the Midwest pretty calm today. The frost advisory has been extended for Kent, Ottawa, and Muskegon counties, maybe only in low spots. I think urban areas will hold in the upper 30s tonight, but if you're in one of those really cold spots, especially off to the north of Grand Rapids, you might want to cover things up because it will get kind of chilly overnight tonight. Temperatures right now, we've made it up into the mid to upper 60s in inland areas, but low to mid 50s over by Lake Michigan. Winds a little bit on the variable side. If you're over by Lake Michigan, they're out of the northwest off the lake. If you're inland, they've been more out of the northeast. Here's what we expect for the evening hours. Temperatures start out in mid 60s. We fall down to the low to mid 50s here by around 11 o'clock. By 11, those cool spots will already be down in the 40s. We'll have more on the cool night coming up. We'll have more here from Meijer. Again, we are in Granville at the Meijer. And again, come on out and see us. We got sunglasses, mustaches, all kinds of free stuff for you as well here at the Meijer in Granville.
Oh, how can you turn that down? All right, sounds good. Thank you, Bill.
The Barry County Prosecutor's Office is reviewing a case against a bus driver accused of spanking a 5-year-old girl. This all happened on Monday. We spoke with the girl's mom, who said her daughter was spanked by the driver, but police wouldn't say exactly what the driver did. This is a timeline of what police say happened. On Monday, the driver apparently stopped the bus because she felt students were being too loud. She walked to the back of the bus and found students standing on a seat. The Hastings police chief, Jeff Pratt, said that the driver took what she thought was, quote, appropriate corrective action. The driver appears to have been suspended from her job pending the outcome of the investigation. The prosecutor is going over the case. It's not clear if any charges will be filed. It is important to note that this was not on a typical school bus. Barry County Transit offers busing to Hastings students who live in Hastings. The school district only offers transportation for students living outside of the city limits.
Coming up next, the White House has unveiled the final version of a controversial rule. Hear what it means for people working overtime and why some business owners are against it.
Plus, it's a growing problem across the country, opioid addiction. Now lawmakers in Washington are trying to reverse an alarming trend. We'll tell you what's in the works.
And it was an emotional day in court. The friend of the teens accused of a Wyoming murder took the stand. He'll hear what he said.
Well, we broke the news just a few minutes ago. Lorinda Swain will not be retried.
Lorinda Swain joins us over the telephone tonight with more on this stunning development. The Supreme Court ruled today that you were welcome to a new trial, but the prosecutor deciding not to go ahead with that, effectively meaning that you're free. Tell us your feelings tonight, Lorinda.
I'm kind of watching it on TV and talking to you guys at the same time. I'm elated. I'm just so happy it's over. I'm innocent, and justice won today. It's been a 15-year long, hard fight, but I did get justice. Actually, they can't give me justice. They can't give me my 15 years back, but it's over with, and I don't have to worry no more. And I'm thankful, so thankful.
15 years, that's been such a long road. Did you ever think you'd get to this point?
I mean, it seemed helpless and hopeless so much of the time in prison, especially, and even in the last 7 years. The last 8 weeks has been just a nightmare. I think that I would be used to it after the whole 15 years, but this last 8 weeks is just, I don't know.
As you were awaiting to listen to this decision, you mean? Is that the difficult part, was waiting for this?
Right, to find out if I lose or win. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, this last 8 weeks, so tough. What are you going to do
Somebody
next?
innocent shouldn't have to worry like that.
No, and Lorinda, you had to be so frustrated because there was a moment there, going back about a year and a half ago, where the prosecutor said they were still going to retry you for this case, that they were going to bring this back to court. And at that time, we could read the body language. and how defeated you seemed at that point in time, that they were still going to continue to try to pin this on you.
Right. You know, I mean, I basically kind of always knew that they probably weren't going to retry me. I'm glad to find out sooner as opposed to having to wait longer before we found that out. I'm kind of surprised that he's telling it the same day. But in all actuality, if they did retry me, they would look even more foolish than they already look, because my son would not lie, and they would just be, you know, make fools of themselves, even wasting more money and more time. And the thing is that the prosecutors never would speak to me. I think that if you had, you know, somebody's life in your hands, that you would at least want to speak to that person before you went on to keep them behind bars or try to get them back. Then I went there begging to speak with them, and my lawyers tried to set that up, and they would never speak to me.
No.
So I'm thankful that they're not going to retry me, so it really is over.
It must be an incredible relief.
And I'm so thankful to God and U of M and my parents and just my kids' grandparents and my kids and so many people were, you know, helped. So you guys, Brad, airing my story a long time ago. So thankful to all the prayers and the support that people gave me, because I realized it was a terrible thing I was accused of. Not a lot for people to give me support.
No. In the Michigan Innocence Clinic, they took on your case back in 2009. Some 18 students have worked with you since then. You spent 7 years in prison. I know that you won't ever get that time back, but this has to be some small solace today, knowing that you won't have to face it again.
Yes. My shoulders just feel like I just like have lost bricks off. That's the only way to explain it.
So, Lorinda, do you have plans? What's next?
Not very as much. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I have a wonderful boyfriend, and now I'll be able to go to Florida and visit my parents whenever I want. I did get to go this year. Took me 8 years to get there. They bought a place in Florida while I was in prison, and every year my would say, next year you'll be able to come, hon. Well, this year they did let me come. My tether agents let me come, but now on I'll be able to go wherever I want, whenever I want.
Yes.
I imagine I will get this off tomorrow. I'm thinking I have a tether appointment tomorrow. I think I might get the tether off tomorrow, possibly, since hearing this news today about the prosecutor not retrying.
Wow. The tether's still attached. What a whirlwind and a roller coaster day for you. Lorinda Swain, thanks for joining us over the telephone live tonight. Now, tonight, a free woman.
Thank you guys
after
for
a 15-year
covering it.
saga.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, Lorinda.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Good luck to you.
Yeah.
Always tracking, always alerting. This is Storm Team 8.
Somebody asked me that question. Once again, this is Bill Steffen at Granville Meyer, and we are just off of 44th Street here. What a setup we have here for you. We have weather alert radios from Midland for you. They are on sale today, and in fact, will be on sale at all the Meyer stores through the end of the month here, in fact, into June. You have to have one of these to keep you safe during severe weather at night. We'll wake you up just like a smoke detector. We're at the west end of the store. If you look behind me, you can see the checkouts there. Just look for checkout number 3031. Come on down and see us. We got some free sunglasses, mustaches, all kinds of stuff for you. Again, at the Meyer in Granville. Let's talk weather. Nothing on Storm Track Live. Skies partly cloudy right now across much of the area. If you're right by Lake Michigan, it is mostly sunny at the current time. Frost advisory for tonight, and we've included Kent, Ottawa, and Muskegon counties in that frost advisory. It's for all the counties off to the north. If you're up along US 10, it is a freeze warning. Temperatures will be a couple degrees cooler than last night in most areas, especially off to the south of Grand Rapids, but frost will mainly be in low spots from I-96 counties off toward the north. We're looking at temperatures right now, which are in the upper 60s to mid 60s in inland areas and low to mid 50s over by Lake Michigan, where the wind's been coming off that cold water. We're going to be looking for temperatures here tonight to make it down in the 30s in most areas as our winds go calm. Here's what we expect for this evening here in Grand Rapids. About a 3/4 full moon. Wind should be light north to northwest here during the evening period, and temperatures will fall to the low to mid 50s. If you're near Lake Michigan, it'll fall into the 40s there. Here's what we're tracking. Dry pattern for us continues right into the early part of next week. We'll have lots of sunshine, mild days, and cool nights. Great weather pattern for the weekend. Here's what we expect tomorrow in inland areas, including Kalamazoo. Sunshine, about 72 degrees in the afternoon. Winds will be light. Should be a great day. If you're at Lake Michigan, well, once again, that wind turns west-northwest off the lake, and that'll keep temperatures there in the afternoon in the mid-60s. 8-day forecast. Look at these temperatures climbing up. We're going to make it up into the low 70s here tomorrow, mid-70s then for Friday and over the weekend. And as we head into the early part of next week, temperatures are going to be into the low 80s. Next chance of a shower or a thunderstorm won't come until next Tuesday. We got lots more for you here at the Meijer in Granville. Come on down and see us.
Good news today for a lot of workers who have been putting in overtime without overtime pay. The Labor Department is doubling the salary threshold.
But business owners say it could be bad news for their bottom line. Brian Moore has the story.
More than 4 million American workers are expected to reap the benefits thanks to a new Labor Department rule on how much salaried employees can earn before they're no longer eligible for overtime pay.
We have a situation where you can work 70 hours a week and literally make the poverty wage of $24,000, which is the current threshold. That isn't right.
Vice President Biden touted the new rule and the economy at the headquarters of an ice cream chain in Ohio.
That this is not only the right thing to do, it's good business.
The Obama administration estimates raising the overtime threshold from $23,000 to $47,500 a year will put $12 billion in the pockets of workers over the next decade. But the National Retail Federation predicts many employers will simply cut their employees off at 40 hours.
These employees are going to have to clock in and clock out. They're going to lose a lot of flexibility. A lot of middle management jobs are going to be eliminated at companies across the economy.
A new national standard for overtime that's no small change. Brian Moore, NBC News, Washington.
They'll do anything to take advantage of somebody.
Coming up in our next half hour, a bizarre scam. Police in northern Michigan say that they've never seen anything quite like it. Hear how scammers are trying to rip people off by sending them nude photos.
But first, cracking down on opioid addiction, political reporter Rick Albin sits down with a doctor and a lawmaker to learn what's happening in the fight against the drugs.
Live, this is 24-hour News 8.
An alarming increase in opioid abuse and addiction has led to a big response in Washington.
24-hour News 8's Rick Albin is here to tell us about a series of bills aimed at reversing the trend.
Yeah, this is really frightening because this is a big problem. I was amazed to see the numbers. Opioid abuse and addiction is a problem that knows no boundaries, according to one doctor who has been working closely with those who are fighting to get clean and with those fighting in Washington to put more resources into such an effort.
Between 25 and 54, we've had a 200% increase in opioid-related deaths.
Approximately 1,700 in Michigan alone, a little more than that, in fact, died in 2014, our most recent records from opioid abuse, heroin overdose.
Congressman Tim Walberg, along with dozens of other members in the U.S. House, including Energy and Commerce Chairman Fred Upton, have been leading a charge to combat the problems caused by the commonplace use of opioids to manage pain.
Back when we were told that we were doing a bad job at treating pain back in the late 90s, which we were given really only one choice to treat that pain, and that was an opioid.
So, according to Dr. Waller, began the use of Norco, Vicodin, Dilaudid, and the oxys that resulted in powerful addictions that led to prescription drug abuse, even addiction to heroin. And treating those addictions is difficult at best.
The largest addiction that we have to deal with is still alcohol. And that one is difficult, but opioids, they have this special little thing that it does to the brain.
That special thing, he says, makes it very hard to kick the habit, combined with what he calls the stigma of addiction that doesn't allow treatment as other diseases. Now, Waller and his association have been working with Congress to develop and pass legislation they hope will address the problem on a number of levels and deal with the unintended consequences of trying to keep patients comfortable.
That's going to be the most comprehensive legislation ever passed for the treatment of patients with addiction.
That package of bills, 18 in all, now goes to a conference committee to work out details with a Senate plan on everything from treatment, prevention, the ability to share patient information, even special programs for veterans facing opioid addiction. That work should continue throughout the summer. Susan?
Rick, thank you. Today is Weather Radio Day. Weather radios are affordable tools that can protect you and your family during severe weather. Tonight, you have a chance to get one or have yours set up by some members of Storm Team 8. Storm Team 8's Kyle Underwood is at the Meyer in Granville tonight. Hi, Kyle.
Seems that way, doesn't it? Hey there, Sue. Yeah, we're at Meyer in Granville, and I know it's, nice weather out. We've got a nice stretch of sunny, warm weather, and the last thing people are thinking about right now is severe weather. But severe weather season is peaking late May and early June here in West Michigan, so it's inevitable that we're going to get some strong storms, and a weather radio is a helpful tool to help keep your family safe. And we've got different types of weather radios here that we're selling. Midland Radios produce these, and they're quality products. I have them in my home and use them religiously, and Midland is offering a special rate. They're doing $5 off, so you can get a good weather radio for $29 here. But the best part is that we will help you program them, including we've got Chief Meteorologist Bill Steffen down at the other end of the table, and he's programming radios tonight too. So we'll be down here until 7 o'clock tonight. And coming up in a couple minutes, I'm going to give you, we're in the cell phone age, right? I'll give you a couple of really good reasons why, even though you have cell phones that warn you about weather, the Storm Team 8 app, there's still a couple of really good reasons to have a weather radio. And I'll talk about that coming up in a few minutes. But let's talk about the forecast quickly first. It's a really mild afternoon. Temperatures right now are in the 60s inland, and we have 50s by the lakeshore. Our planner forecast for this evening calls for mostly sunny skies to continue, clear skies later tonight, in fact, and it's going to be a chilly night, especially north of Grand Rapids. Look for temps by sunset about 9:03 to be around 60 degrees. A little patchy frost is possible north of town. We'll talk more about that, show you the 8-day forecast, and again, give you those reasons why it's really important to have a weather radio in your home. Coming up here in about 15 minutes.
Okay. Temperatures looking good. Kyle, thank you for the live report. We'll see you a little bit later.
Well, they had billed it as a make-or-break fight for Hudsonville boxer Jordan Schimmel. Schimmel fighting in an eliminator bout on national TV last night, and it did not go well. Jack Doles joins us in studio now with more on that fight and Jordan's condition.
Yeah, Jordan says he's okay, but there were some nervous moments last night. Schimmel stepped into the ring against Russian Murat Gassiev. Late in the first round, he got caught by a left hook that rocked him. Jordan was out cold. The ref didn't even bother counting to 10. The paramedic was called to the ring to give him oxygen. Jordan eventually got up under his own power and congratulated Gassiev. A while after the fight, he went on Twitter and posted this. He said, "I'm okay. That loss, knockout, it wasn't good. And it's embarrassing, but I'm okay. Thanks to everybody for your support." After the fight, he told Ron Buckner, he said, "I felt fine, but he wanted to use the fight as a learning experience to get better. So as of now, he plans on continuing his fighting career."
Wicked. Thanks, Jack. Police in northern Michigan say it is a scam like nothing they've ever seen before. A caller pretending to be the Crawford County Sheriff saying that people have nude photos of his underage daughter. One man targeted was a 21-year-old. The scammer said if he didn't pay up, he was going to be charged with criminal sexual conduct because he had nude photos on his phone. He hung up, but then a random number actually sent him nude photos. The scammer then called back, saying that he was the county sheriff and that the pictures were of his daughter. The man targeted ignored it, but he called police.
We're worried about the citizens out there. It's upsetting, gives the department a bad image. But again, that's what these people are. They're thieves, or they'll do anything to take advantage of somebody.
The scammer's phone number was tracked in North Carolina, but no arrests have been made. Well, the case against two teenagers accused of killing another teen is now moving forward.
Today in Wyoming, a friend of two of the suspects took the stand. Hear what he says happened the night of the murder.
And the feds say that some relief's coming to some of the country's busiest airports. We'll tell you what they're doing to help speed up the security check-in process.
Here's a look at how the stock market ended up closing today. The Dow Jones is lower 3 points. The NASDAQ trading higher 23, and the S&P 500 that's about higher about a half a point. Crude oil trading at $47.88 a barrel. A man was shot and killed in Midtown Manhattan this morning during the morning rush hour. Officers said a man walked into a grocery store to buy some beer and started yelling at the cashier and other customers. A uniformed police officer was alerted and confronted the suspect. The two started to struggle and fell to the ground. At an afternoon press conference, the police chief described what happened next.
As the suspect got back on his feet, he displayed an 8-inch knife and approached the officers, and 2 other officers were coming to his assistance. The officers ordered the suspect to drop the knife, and he continued to approach them with the knife in his hand. At this point, one officer and a sergeant fired at the suspect. The male was pronounced dead at the scene.
A woman and a police officer were taken to the hospital with minor injuries following the incident. Both are expected to be okay.
Hackers set their sights on presidential candidates. Foreign hackers appear to have spied on both Republicans and Democrats, according to the Director of National Intelligence. He also warned more attacks are likely. He reports that agencies are working with the 2 campaigns without specifying which ones to tighten security. No word yet on how the hacking attempts were detected.
2 married men who were at the front of the gay marriage fight in front of the Supreme Court are now fighting a new battle. Greg Bjork and Michael De Leon have been together for 34 years. They've made plans to be buried next to each other in a Catholic cemetery in Louisville. Church officials are fine with the burial part, but they rejected a headstone design that includes an illustration of the Supreme Court building and 2 wedding rings. The men say they were told the design goes against church teaching.
It definitely feels a little bit like retaliation. It's difficult to prove anything like that, but that's certainly the way it feels, and you know, I think anyone could look at kind of the things that have happened over the last couple of years and come to the same conclusion.
Catholic officials say there is no appeal process and that they're willing to review any new designs.
Coming up next, we've got new details from court in Wyoming. Today, a friend of 2 teens accused of murder took the stand. Hear what he says happened the night of the crime.
Ahead tonight, we'll tell you if you're among the millions now eligible to earn overtime pay under new federal rules. Now it's the airlines getting pushed back over those long TSA lines. It's the time they stopped charging for checked baggage. And it helped Jimmy Carter. We'll have details of what may be a breakthrough drug in the treatment of an often deadly form of cancer when we see you here tonight for Nightly News.
An emotional day in court for the family and friends of a Wyoming teen who was beaten and stabbed to death.
Carlos Delgado and Quentin Schaefer were in court for a preliminary hearing today. 24-Hour News 8's Marley Ginter is in studio with new disturbing details in this case. Marley?
Oh, disturbing indeed, Sue and Brian. Delgado and Schaefer, both only 15 years old, are accused of killing 16-year-old Michael White back in March. At a hearing today, a friend of the teen suspects testified. James Springs says he was with them the night White's body was found in Lyons Park near Clyde Park Avenue in Wyoming. Springs says they were at a girl's house smoking marijuana when White showed up at the house. Delgado and Schaefer left with White, while Springs left with the girl to get a pizza. Springs says when he returned, he saw Delgado and Schaefer taking their clothes off outside and putting them in grocery bags. When he heard about White's death, Springs says he sent a Facebook message to the suspects.
And out of the group, who responds?
Quentin.
What is Quentin's response?
He said, shh, just shh.
And what does that mean to you?
He doesn't want me to say nothing no more. He doesn't want me to message about it.
Now, detectives also took the stand and described the brutal beating of White. They also talked about how Delgado confessed to beating and stabbing White. Both Delgado and Schaefer are charged with murder as adults in the case, and they do face up to life in prison. A trial date has not been set yet. In studio control, Marley Ginter, 24-Hour News 8.
Always tracking, always alerting.
To the door,
this
too.
is Storm Team 8.
Okay, we're at Meyer in Granville, and I know it's, we're talking about weather radios today, and let me show you. We're right by the door. It's tough to look out the window here, see all that sunshine out there. It's a beautiful, sunny, warm day, but we are talking about severe weather and weather radios. And I'll make the case, the reason why you may want to invest in one of these to protect your family coming up in just a minute. But first, I want to get you through the forecast. We'll show you what it looks like on satellite here. We've got cloud cover, very limited cloud cover here this afternoon, but a few puffy cumulus clouds have popped up. When we take a closer look at radar right now, you can see that there's nothing underneath those few clouds that are out there. We're dry this afternoon, and dry weather continues tonight. In fact, once the sun's energy disappears, the skies will clear back out, and we have a chance for a pretty cool night tonight across West Michigan. Futurecast depicting the lack of cloud cover overnight tonight, right through the day tomorrow. In fact, I expect a lot of sunshine again for tomorrow. In fact, next 4 or 5 days are looking more sunny than anything else. Live look outside right now from our downtown Grand Rapids Skycam. Looking good, downtown GR. Just a few of those puffy cumulus clouds out there. Some highlights of the forecast here. We've got more dry weather on the way here. In fact, just about the entire 8-day forecast chock full of beautiful weather. Another shot at frost tonight, but not for everybody. Kind of like last night, where it's limited to areas well north of Grand Rapids. As you approach US 10, we have frost advisories and the freeze warnings farther north, so keep that in mind. No rain in the forecast until next week. In fact, Tuesday afternoon looks like our next shot at showers. Current temperature is pretty comfortable. We're in the 60s inland, a little cooler by the lakefront. Temperatures right along the shoreline are in the 50s. You can see South Haven at 53, and it's 64 right now in Ionia. Our 8-day forecast calls for the nice weather to continue for several more days. Sunshine, warmth, temps in the mid-70s here for Friday. Saturday and Sunday look downright awesome. 77 both days, and our best chance of rain comes next week with temperatures getting back to the 80s. Hallelujah. It's been a long run here with a big chunk of April and even parts of early May with very chilly weather. That is about to end. And so now here's the reason why you want to start thinking about weather radios, even though we've got such lovely weather outside right now. A couple of scenarios are possible. One is that, let's say you turn your cell phone off at night. I do that from time to time. These things can warn you for severe weather, but not if they're turned off, not if your battery's on low. And the other thing to keep in mind is that when severe weather's happening, everybody wants to get in touch. You want to call your neighbor, you want to call your friends. How are you doing? Are you okay? What's going on? Well, the signals tend to get jammed, just like being in a concert when you can't get a message out. There's a lot of traffic on the signals, and so that makes it difficult for the providers to send you these severe weather messages. These are going to continue to work. They're on sale. They're $29, and we've got a staff of folks here from the National Weather Service and Midland Radio, as well as Wood TV8. Bill Steffen and I are here, and we can help you program these radios and get you on your way and ready for a safe, severe weather season, which, even though it's been pretty elusive so far, I promise is going to come eventually. We're live in Granville. Kyle Underwood, 24-hour News 8.
Yeah, it always does. That's for sure. Be safe. All right, good stuff. Thanks, Kyle.
Thanks, Kyle. The State Court of Appeals weighed in on a marijuana case out of Grand Rapids. Ryan Bilesma ran a medical marijuana grow operation, leasing a commercial warehouse space for his 2 medical marijuana patients. The operation allowed him to assist in qualifying patients and caregivers in growing pot. After a raid of the facility in 2011, he was charged with manufacturing pot. Bilesma tried claiming protection under the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act. Today, the Michigan Court of Appeals ruled against Bilesma, saying the MMA does not protect patient-to-patient or caregiver-to-caregiver transactions. The effect of the ruling limits the sale and transfer of pot, allowing it only between a caregiver and a patient.
Police in Calhoun County say that a 14-year-old boy was stabbed by another teen, and it was all over a 13-year-old girl. Deputies were originally called to a home in the 100 block of Maxwell Avenue in Penfield Township at about 3 in the morning. First, the teens said that a man tried to rob them and stabbed the boy before taking off. But deputies learned that the boys made it all up. The victim was actually stabbed by the 15-year-old boy. The 14-year-old was stabbed in the shoulder. He was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The 15-year-old suspect was taken to a juvenile home.
A police task force is looking into the cold case slaying of a 25-year-old man from Newaygo County. State Police, the Newaygo County Sheriff's Office, and the county prosecutor are looking into the death of Richard Atwood. Atwood was seen last on August 10th in 1983 in White Cloud. He was reported missing 12 days later. His car was found that October in Grand Rapids. Investigators believe that new technology may generate new leads.
The city of Grand Rapids received the national honor for the 6th straight year. It's being honored with the Playful City USA designation. The National Recognition Program celebrates cities for making their communities more playable. Since a park millage was passed in 2013, Grand Rapids has been building and updating a number of its parks. GR, one of 257 communities to be honored this year. 3-hour waits at some of the nation's busiest airports, but now some help is on the way to speed things up. We'll explain next.
Coming up at 6, our cameras take you inside perhaps the biggest milestone yet for the youngest survivor of the Kalamazoo shooting rampage. Abby Koff's family allowed 24-hour News 8 Susan Samples to follow them as Abby prepared for surgery. Susan?
This is a story filled with hope, love, and everything positive. West Michigan has embraced Abby Koff and her family, and now they're sharing their journey with you. When Abby was shot in the head during the random rampage February 20th in Kalamazoo, doctors had to remove part of her skull to give her brain room to swell. We were there recently as Abby went into surgery to replace that missing piece and as she came out of surgery. Coming up at 6, join us for Abby's journey and find out what doctors are saying now about the prospect of a full recovery for this young lady.
Calling it the agency's top priority, the head of the TSA is working to reduce the wait time for passengers at airports across the country.
A few airports seeing the longest wait times just down the road at Chicago Midway and O'Hare. Those airports telling travelers to expect waits of up to 3 hours. Now the TSA is putting together a special task force to help speed things up. And Jay Gray has the details.
Security lines and travelers' frustrations
I think it's ridiculous and it's unnecessary.
Are being stretched to their limits right now at airports across the country.
This is just, somebody needs to get their act together.
A balancing act that is increasingly difficult, according to the administrator of the Transportation Security Administration.
We are still in a tough threat environment, maybe a tougher threat environment than we've been in many years. But at the same time, we have to understand how to manage the system in a way that doesn't have large crowds of people gathering outside the secure areas.
Some of the biggest issues have been at Chicago O'Hare, where the TSA has deployed a rapid response team with 58 officers and 5 canine units to get things moving there. And with ticket prices at a 5-year low, analysts warn in Chicago and other airports the crowds will only grow this summer. Many predict record numbers, with more than 2.5 million travelers every day, many with carry-ons.
We've asked airlines to consider possibly eliminating the checked baggage fee to encourage people to check their luggage rather than put it in the carry-on.
But the airlines say they're not cutting their fees and that TSA needs to ensure adequate staffing and equipment while passengers continue waiting.
That's very frustrating.
For a solution. Jay Gray, NBC News.
Well, it has certainly been a busy day. We have a lot of news coming up for you next at 6.
We will start with our team coverage on a courtroom bombshell. We now know that the disturbing items a kidnapping suspect had in his car as police track down leads on 2 other high-profile cases.
Plus, we're taking you along for Abby's journey as surgeons replace a portion of Abigail Koff's skull. It's all new next on 24-Hour News 8 at 6.